I think I just created a monster, and not the stand kind. Koichi looks like a grandma, and Josuke is giving me Bram Stoker's Dracula vibe. Welcome to part 2, where I try to fix my career choices and these models before I lose my mind. Today, I want to finish the models for Josuke, Koichi, Jotaro, and Okuyasu, and hopefully finish the first 5 seconds. So, let's begin. The first character I have to finish is Josuke, because, let's be honest, what would I be doing if I left Josuke for last? The head looks good for now. However, the outline of his hair, and well, his hair in general, are going to be the biggest challenges so far. One thing that I'm having a problem with are the sideburns. In my reference, they look very tightly locked in the head. However, pulling these vertices shows that this may be squeezing the head. Perhaps when the hair is more shaped out, we can readjust his face so it looks as good as it can get, but deviating from the reference is causing me to worry about the end results a little bit too much. But anyways, let's fluff up his hair so we get the height as well as getting the weird tongue slash hair shape. Pretty fine. Let's go to the side to adjust and... oh, hi there Bram Stoker's Dracula. Well, like I said, this is gonna be tough. Alright, this is beginning to look better, and as always, nothing is looking the way I thought. So this hair is beginning to look nice, but there will be a lot of tweaking still involved. But what do you think? Does this look just gay enough? I feel like it does, but his face is still looking weird and pinched, so we can't commit to this or try and get it to look like it originally did. However, I like the idea of matching the reference as best as possible. This is very cool. Just look at the comparison, this is looking pretty great. All I need to do is get the eyebrows and eyelashes. Done, I think it would be clever to just get some of the seam cuts marked as I move on, because going back to the seam cuts will be a little uncomfortable if I don't do it well. Also, I forgot to get the little hair pieces at the back. It's also a very weird piece of hair, but I mean, it is there. But yeah, now the clothes are going to be a piece of cake. Honestly, all we need to do is go to the arms and legs and begin fluffing them up. Just like with the hair, but unlike the hair, this process is way quicker. One way to make this faster is to grab the seam cuts and use them to select and adjust like I'm doing for the sleeves. Another great tool is always going to be the grab tool on sculpt mode, which allows me to sculpt his clothes in a more natural way. To me, this is awesome, because it feels as natural as sculpting. Now we have the neck, and I'm going to extrude the shirt heart opening. looks pretty good. And it seems like I made Josuke a little bit more ripped than he is. So I'll be tweaking it so it looks more normal. Seems kind of impossible, but the textures will be helping us later on, so I'ma adjust his pants. The funny thing is that Josuke has very baggy pants, and as we can see in the reference, they have a lot of movement and deformation, so we may need to jump in later to adjust the pants when animating, but I feel like these pants are looking pretty okay, so let's do the seam cuts and adjust the shoes. Last step is to finish the coat and shape it out to fit the legs. Although we are still missing some other parts, the entire process has already taken a while, so I think I'll move on to adjust Koichi to get the video along. And by the way, if you're enjoying the video, why don't you subscribe to help me see this through to the end. Alright, so the first thing we can see is the difference between the scale Koichi's proportions and the character sheet Koichi proportion. His head is incredibly big, like ginormous, and this I know will give us problems with the rig, but I said I was going to fix Koichi. Plus, if this looks bad, the new opening will end up looking like trash. So let's fix him up. So first, we need him to get shorter so we can make his head bigger. And once it's big, try not to get scared. Oh my god, no, this is horrible. At least the nose lines up, but the rest of the head does not. Just look at the side view. What is this? These fixes are going to be quite something. The head is fitted to his proportions. All we need to do now is adjust the rest of his body, so this doesn't stay looking as normal. Yeah, now I know what you're going to say, however, let's save it for once I decide to stop meddling with this model. God, this is awful. So the body already has nice proportions, but it still looks like immersed Titan. Okay, so these proportions are a little better. Perhaps with the hair, we can get it closer to how it should look. Yeah, so Koichi now looks like a grandma. Well, I mean, maybe texturing can fix him? I'll just get his clothes and try to continue. This has taken a very long time. I'm going to leave Koichi here. You're now free to judge my design decisions on Koichi. Please leave a comment down as to what I could do to fix him up. Now, we need to adjust the rig, because yeah, the bones don't match at all. now the rig looks tight, however we still have to test it. Yep, it works. So at the very least I can try and replace the models on my animation file with these new ones. Also, I want to adjust the quantity of lights in my scene. After reviewing my past video, I can see that the scene is very crowded, so let's go! Cool, those should be enough. Let's add Josuke and Koichi. Alright, this is looking very good. Luckily for us, the rig didn't change for Josuke. However, Koichi's rig is another story. So let's see the mess we just got into. For starters, we can see the difference of proportions. Like, the base Koichi is just a decently thin kid. And Koichi, well, he's kinda like Mario, but like, not fat, you know? Oh, is his head too big? Come on, that's just ridiculous. Well, whatever. But at least I already have an idea of what to really tweak now. Let's move on to the last part of this video. Doing the portraits and having them all pointing up. To begin, I'll add the original video to the camera so we can trace the movements as clearly as possible. Clearly, there are some issues with the posing of everyone. However, I'd like to pat myself on the back for how closely it matches the original. Then, our first portrait is Josuke, with his classic hair maintenance routine. And this one is going to require some interesting tricks. I decided to rotate the camera to better fix the framing, move the hands a little so they work better, and then move on to scaling down the hand at the front, because his hair is a little taller and his right hand appears to be a little smaller than what it should be. But so far, this looks pretty close to the original. Honestly, I'm still surprised at the results here. Well, as always, Koichi is still being Koichi. Weird and deformed. I mean, I don't know how to establish these shots without deforming him too much. Do you think this is too much? Well, whatever. Let's pose Okuyasu. For this one, we still don't have a model, and I'm actually good with it, because like we saw with Koichi, this is a little more complex of a process than I thought. So posing him from the beginning allows me to better understand what the character should look and feel like, alongside his proportions. And now, the last character we got to pose is Jotaro. The good thing about Jotaro is that he is pretty inexpressive, which means that his deformations and posing will be the most controlled. See, his pose is very cool, yet quite distant and disinterested. Not a bad model, thank you Jotaro-san. Well, maybe his hand is a little bigger than necessary. But anyways, there we have it. Now, let's bring everybody back and do the last bit of animation from this part. The guy is pointing upward. I guess I don't need to edit Koichi that much, I just need to scale his head bone. Awesome. Now let's pose Okuyasu. Go to the last frame, pose everyone, and I'll try to fix whatever we need to fix in this transition. Well, crap. Everyone has a different time for raising their hands. Have you ever noticed that Josuke is the last one to join in, with Koichi being pretty much the first? Is this a foreshadowing for something? Well, now Koichi is beginning to piss me off. What? This guy just grew out of nowhere. Like, what? Oh, he's on his toes. So okay, his height is as good as it can possibly be. So yeah, let me check whether or not this looks good. So far, there are two things I have in mind. Jotaro's hand is twisting way too much. Also, I'm wondering whether I should animate this with the actual animation frames or just use the movement to interpolate the movement. I think I'll just pose on the specific parts and see if Blender does a good interpolation. Cool. Jotaro's arm looks and moves pretty good. So I'ma commit to this. Well, I feel like Okuyasu's movement is a little weird. Maybe I should leave it like it was, and I'm 100% sure that Josuke's movement is as good as it gets. Well, okay. I'll leave Okuyasu's with his new frames, but Josuke will stay the way he is. So yeah, that's it. Let's see the final animation. Well, like I said, this is a work in progress, so yeah, but I think it still looks good. However, animation pros, if you could weigh in with some tips, that would be great, because, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong, perhaps very wrong, but who knows, at least I know I don't. And, well, that's today's video. Let me know what you think. Are we getting closer to a CGI JoJo opening, or should I be banned from using Blender? As always, thank you so very much for watching until the end. You know the drill, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss part 3 of this process and how I model Jotaro and Okuyasu. I'm pretty confident these guys should be easier to work with. As always, you can find some other models and 3D printable files in my Ko-fi. It's a cool way to support me and keep this project alive. I'll be seeing you around, pals!